I'm actually, board members, I'm had it with this guy. I've got important things to do. I don't wanna hear him
Why
bring
don't
up
you
his
leave then?
prejudice
I'm not
stuff.
stopping you.
We need to
Take
get
a
to the
hike.
bottom line right here. You
One of
cannot
these,
prove
I've
it.
asked the city council for permits repeatedly. That's why I had the different dates written on the side.
Yeah, and that's not an issue that this board can address.
Well, he said, where did you apply? Where did you ask? That's it.
But that's again,
Have they
that's,
responded? No, Counselor, they haven't. I'm still sitting here with nothing.
That's
You've-
beyond our scope.
and you've not presented
It is.
that. The
If I
area,
can't use
they,
my
hold
property,
on.
it's
Let's get some order to this. All right? They have to make the decision based on the evidence that you present and your burden to prove that your property is overvalued. So when you talk about things that happened outside of the assessor's valuation, that's not something that they can address, especially when you don't present evidence of that thing that you want to address. Now, if there's no further questions, we can go to the assessor's presentation.
I have
Yeah.
Thank you, Board. So for my discussion, just the appeals that Mr. Chachis submitted are the same, or for the same reason as the appeals he submitted last year to the Board of Equalization, which the board upheld my office's valuations last year, and again, as the district attorney mentioned, the state board upheld those valuations as well. He referenced 13 parcels, the county commission sold for $100, and an additional parcel the county commission sold for $4,000. Those parcels were sold legally. I have no control over that through NRS 244. Mr. Chachis mentioned that I'm competing against the private sector, which I don't even know what that means. But as assessor, I can't buy or sell property. I have no control over what the county commission's decisions are. Those parcels that were sold, though, the sales price had nothing to do with how our office is assessing them. They're being assessed as the same as any other parcel in that location with the use of the size. We create land valuations all throughout White Plain County, City of Ely, everywhere. And it's gonna depend, is it residential, is it in the City of Ely, is it East Ely? Okay, here's a value that we're gonna have. And they're all assessed the same. In the evidence that I submitted, the very back part of it is those parcels that he referenced, and you can see on the assessed valuations, they're being assessed like any other parcel in East Ely. The one that he referenced that sold for $4,000, it's being assessed like any other parcel in that area of that size. So I'm not sure I mean, I've seen no evidence that I'm assessing anybody. I don't look at a parcel and say, well, that's the land value. Actually, we have it plugged into our system now. All the parcels in this area of this size, I can go in and change, and it changes everything. I don't see who it changes. There's nothing done there. We determine the land values and apply them equally to everyone, all the parcels.
Can I ask you a couple questions?
Absolutely.
One, does it affect your assessed value whether somebody is using a property in violation of any of the city or county codes?
No.
Does it affect your assessed value about whether the county or the city, for that matter, went through a process to sell property below market value?
No. Okay. We have no control over city policy, county policy, RPC decisions, building department issues. We just take the data and apply it equally as prescribed under law.
Okay. George, do you have rebuttal? Or are you done? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, do you have rebuttal, George?
Yes, the parcels that were sold, not only in, what's it, 17th Street down there?
Yes.
Okay, 13 parcels, $100. Then another 4 were sold just recently last year, excuse me.
2 years ago.
Summerall.
2 years ago.
2 years
Yes.
ago, okay. 40 acres, and
That,
In both cases,
Summerall's were 4 lots.
right,
Um,
the first time, if I may recall, I offered a cash price and there was no buyers.
and I can't speak to any of that,
Okay.
I don't know.
I wasn't allowed to purchase the property. In the 40 acres, there was another individual that wanted to buy that property. He wasn't allowed to make an offer. In fact, I sent it to the DA, Mr. Weagle, because a young man happened to show up at the city council and wondered why he wasn't allowed to submit his bid. It's gotta stop. On my presentation 9.1, where you asked, Mr. Allworth asked, where did I make an attempt? Dated November 4, 2021, I'm still waiting. Now the mayor is cutting me down 3 minutes. Used to be 3 minutes at the beginning, 3 minutes at the end. I have no time to bring it up. All he's got to do at the end of that particular letter that I sent, please respond in writing. If you refuse the request, please provide me the basis for your refusal. I'm assuming the man can write. I'm assuming he can read.
Once again, Mr. Attorney, he's off base. Let's get back to what we're
Yeah,
here.
that is correct. That is
You
correct,
asked-
Mr. Alden.
I gave you.
George, your
No, no,
rebuttal
no,
is,
Councilor.
George, your rebuttal should be limited to what the assessor presented.
Okay, when there is no value, there is no value. I must be able to use my property. I don't care how he assesses it. I'm not being treated equally under the law.
Okay, thank you. Sir, rebuttal?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. Now it's time for the board to either entertain a motion or take the case under advisement.
I'll make a motion. I make a motion that we follow the recommendation of the assessor's office that no changes be made to these properties.
Motion has been made. Is there a second? Any further discussion by the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Carried so ordered.
Okay, that takes care of the balance of the appeals. Mr. Chair, do you want the gavel back, so to speak, to deal with these last couple of items on the agenda?
Go ahead.
Okay. So we'll move on to item G, board members' comments. This item is limited to announcements of topics, issues proposed for future agendas. Does anybody have anything?
Nothing else.
No comment.
And then we'll go to item H, public comment. Comment heard on this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person and may pertain to matters both on and off the board agenda. Comments are to be made to the board as a whole. Is there any public comment on Zoom? If anybody has public comment on Zoom, now would be the time to unmute and identify yourself. Not seeing or hearing any. Is there any public comment in the audience?
Yes, oh, go ahead.
I would like to address something on public comment. I wasn't aware if I could do this, and I felt like it was there was a lot of tension in the room with Mr. and Mrs. Pauley, so I would just like the board to know, and when they stated that they, he received a call from his wife at the office, she told me whoever just flew past my office, headed up to the house, had better slow down. Well, first of all, we entered the property, and we seen Mrs. Pauley on the phone, so I stopped the vehicle, I was the driver, I stopped the vehicle, waited till let her finish her discussion, and then approached her and explained to her what we were doing, and if she could tell us where the home was being built, because we didn't even know. So it's not like I could have flown by and gone to see where the home's at. So I would just like to explain that, and that you guys are aware that we were very professional at what we were doing, and we didn't, we're cautious on going people's properties, and I myself have 5 grandkids, as she had stated, she has 9, and we're very cautious on pets to animals in the property. We don't want to run them over. So I would just like you to know that. Thank you.
Thank you,
Any other public comment?
Yes, so I have a couple of things. First of all, I just want to thank the board, the district attorney, the county clerk for all the time and energy that you guys spend in this. We spend a lot of time, obviously, on this, and it's quite a process, but thank you for your time for the many hours. Just as a clarification, that often gets confused that I'm taxing people, that our office taxes people. We do valuations. The county commission sets the tax rate. It's at $3.66. They could decide it's $2.66, and everybody's taxes would go down drastically. We do not set the tax rate. I don't control what people get taxed. In our office, we only control what the values are. And then also, after consulting, after my assessment, the deliberate nature of evidence being submitted at the last minute by the appellants, I have reached out to a couple of counties, and I would like to have a special meeting at some point of the Board of Equalization and adopt some County Board of Equalization guidelines as to mirror the State Board of Equalizations. So, as I mentioned earlier in the case, that basically we're the defense, they're the prosecutors, but yet in the way it's worked is I'm being charged, hypothetically, I'm being charged with a crime, we are, and we have to submit our whole defense before we even get any information on what we're being charged with. And it should be the opposite, that they need to submit their evidence, anything that is known at the time and within a certain time period, and then we respond to that. It was clear in a couple of the evidence, the packets of evidence that were submitted, that it was in response to what we had done. And we're put at a huge disadvantage. The board's put at a disadvantage by getting 100 pages the day before a hearing. So that's something I would like to call a
There's
special
no
meeting.
legal reason why we can't do that.
We can do a special meeting to discuss that, but I would not like to discuss that at this point in time.
So
No.
this is just under public comment. I just want to let you
When
know.
you
I
get
would
your
like to
thoughts
do that
put
in the
together,
future, so
let us know and we'll schedule.
Thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comment? All right, and I guess we'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous plus.
This has been a Georgetown production. George Chachis reporting.